Fourth quarter wisdom from the lady I would call a legend, the legend of Judy Brown. Judy was born and reared in Louisiana, and when she was 18 years old, she married her sweetheart, Bruce. And together they built a life, and quite a life indeed. 12 kids, 32 grandchildren, 44 great-grandchildren, a total of 88 descendants from the love of Bruce and Judy Brown. 2 or 3 years ago, Bruce was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and it's been a very slow deterioration, but there's a lot of suffering that goes with that. But he's still able to make his way around the farm and take care of things, and even though his body's slowing down on him. And as he got into Parkinson's, he and Judy still continued their same ritual every night. That they would get together, they would lie in bed, Bruce would get a bag of chips and some salsa and a Budweiser, and together they would lie in bed and watch Wheel of Fortune. Well, in December, Judy was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and it was very late in the game, and the doctor said, you probably have maybe 6 months. Well, she didn't make it quite that long. Once we got into January, Judy's cancer really began to take over, but still, every single night, she and Bruce would lie in bed and watch Wheel of Fortune as he drank his Budweiser. And eventually, Hospice had to be called in, and then the family was called in, and they did a rotation with the 88 family members so that somebody was with her around the clock, always, her family loving her all the way to the end. Mid-January, one of her sons, Father John, who's a Jesuit, is a priest, came and said Mass and invited the family to come on that Sunday morning around 8:30 or 9, and he said Mass, and there were 65 of the 88 family members in the house, on the porch, outside the windows, just surrounding her bedroom with all of their love, as Father John said Mass for his mother, Judy. She rallied that day, and as Mass ended, she really kind of held court and told stories and laughed, and the family gathered around, and they shared all kinds of funny memories and just had a marvelous time until about 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon, and then she was just spent. And so she was getting ready to fall asleep and to take a nap, and she sat up on her elbows, and she looked around the room, and she looked at her family members, and she said, you know what's strange? Is that when I was a young woman, I used to be in the prayer group, the ladies' prayer group at the parish. And we would have the same prayers each week when we gathered. And we always prayed a prayer at the end that we prayed for a happy death. We prayed that we would have a happy death. And she said, I used to always think, what is that? That is so weird. That is so odd, praying for a happy death. What in the world is a happy death? And she looked around at all of her family, at her 12 kids, and her grandkids, and her great-grandkids. And she said, now I know what a happy death is. Legend of Judy Brown.